Look, if you want to become more successful, you got to understand this one thing. You got to always stay in motion, right? It's just like riding a fucking bike. And I heard this a while ago, and it's kind of corny, but it's very fucking true. Because if you stay in motion, then you're gonna get answers, you're gonna go and stay in momentum, right? And you're gonna get these answers that you otherwise wouldn't get, and otherwise you're gonna get stuck and overthink things, right? It's the exact same as if you're on a bike. If you've ever thought of, maybe even learning a moped, like a scooter that's powered by engine, right? Or a push bike. And when you were learning to do that, I was actually teaching a friend this, funnily enough, and this guy couldn't fucking do it, right? And the only reason he couldn't do it is because he would start the gas, and then he would literally just stop right before he got into momentum, right before he got into balance. And then you're gonna actually fall. Why did he do this, right? The reason he did this is because he was afraid that he was gonna fall. But what you gotta understand is the very fucking thing that you're afraid of is gonna happen if you take the actions that you are pushed towards if you're afraid, right? So you are manifesting the thing that you are afraid of actually because you're trying to avoid it, right? And that's the world on its fucking head, but it's very fucking true. Because if you're not committing to it 100%, for example, riding a bike, or if you're boxing, right? If you're not committing to the punch, or if you're not committing to, the phone call, if you're making a sales call or anything like that, then you're gonna be slightly hesitant. You're gonna hold back slightly because you're afraid to fall on your face, figuratively and or literally, right? And then you're gonna hold back a little bit, but that's the exact thing, because you're holding back, that's gonna make you tip right over, right? So if you actually wanna get the results that you see other people on the internet or people that you know maybe or whatever have, then you gotta start learning to stay in motion and push it all the way through, right? Because we're also able to pull this back to your daily work life, right? Because if you're running a business or something like that, and you need to do certain tasks, right? But let's say that you are doing something difficult and you need to do these things, but basically you are just every time stopping, and then now you're gonna do something else, this and that, right? You're gonna get out of momentum, right? You're gonna basically get into a place where you're pausing every time. And if you do that, you're never actually gonna get into a flow of things, right? So I'm gonna give you another analogy. What most people do and think is if you go into, for example, an ice bath, right? Most people think that the pain you feel for the first 30 seconds, most people think that that's gonna be the same pain that you're gonna feel for the next 3 minutes, which is very untrue. The first 30, 40 seconds are where you actually experience high discomfort. But if you get through that, right, then it's actually gonna be lower. But here's the kicker, right? If you actually believe, because you have never gone past 30, 40 seconds, if you believe that pain is gonna, that 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 pain is gonna remain for the 3 minutes, there's no way that you're gonna stay in there, right? Because you know, or you think that it's gonna remain that way. But if you know, right, or if someone tells you or whatever, that after those 30, 40 seconds, it's actually gonna get less bad, right? It's not gonna be as difficult, then you're gonna be able to stay in, because you know that it's not gonna stay that bad. And that's the exact same concept with, for example, doing your work, right? Or doing your workout, or any of those hard or difficult things to do. If you remain and if you keep doing it, you're gonna get into a flow and a momentum, and it's not gonna cost you energy. It's not gonna cost you as much energy or as much pain, right? It's once again, another analogy, it's the same concept of a car starting up, right? A car that starts up from scratch, right? It takes more gas to get it to, 100 kilometers an hour, right? Than to then be at 100 kilometers an hour for a bunch of kilometers, right? It basically takes less energy or fuel to remain on the cruise control for a while than that first period, because it's that starting up, that getting in motion, that's always difficult. It's just like if you're having a big boulder that you would push or something like that, right? Or even a car that you're pushing, that first bit is very difficult, but once it's rolling, you can keep it rolling even with one hand, or maybe if you're very strong, a couple fucking fingers, right? So That concept exists in every single endeavor you might want to pursue. And you want to use it to your advantage rather than your disadvantage, right? And how you do that is by simply knowing and understanding this concept, and from there, just actually applying it by pushing through those periods where you have pain instead of exiting out and then starting back in, right? Because that costs a lot of willpower. And what you gotta understand is that we all have a limited, finite, amount of willpower. Now you can grow this over time if you do a lot of disciplined things. This is like a muscle, right? You can grow it over time, but at the same time, the willpower thing, it is still something that every day, no matter how much you've grown it, will be a finite resource, right? And if you spend it on, starting 5 times a day, then you're wasting your fucking energy. Whereas if you would start one time, right? And then you just don't stop. And I'm not talking about, okay, take a quick 5-minute walk, right? Or something like that, but just keep going, keep hustling. You will find, I promise you, that you're gonna discover that if you stay in momentum, if you stay in action, it's gonna be much easier for you to get through that day and do a lot of shit. And you'll actually end up doing a lot more hours, just like the cruise control car, right? You'll end up doing a lot more hours with less energy and effort, okay? So here's my challenge for you. If you resonate with this, right? And if you don't think I'm full of shit, or at least you might want to try this, then set yourself a task for tomorrow. You're gonna make it your fucking mission to stay in action the entire day, okay? If you don't know what to do, that shouldn't happen in the first place, honestly, because you gotta define today what you're gonna have to do tomorrow, write all that shit down, right? And just stay in action. No breaks, just keep pushing it. It's gonna be hard for about an hour maybe, and then or an hour and a half, whatever, and you're gonna really get into it, right? And then once you complete these tasks, you're gonna get this dopamine hit. So don't necessarily, if you're new to this, don't necessarily start with the very most difficult thing that's gonna take hours to complete. Start with a couple small tasks that kind of get you in the zone, right? And then you're gonna get this dopamine rush, right? Because you're finishing things. Like most people nowadays, they just drink coffee to be able to work, right? Now there's nothing wrong with drinking coffee every now and then, but if you're dependent on it, that is a fucking problem. Coffee gives you more dopamine, right? It releases more dopamine and serotonin in your brain. But what also releases more dopamine, and what it's actually meant for, is to motivate you, right? So if you actually want to get the real way of getting it, then you want to complete a task that's important to you, and then you're going to get a hit of dopamine for completing that. And that gets you into this rush, into this momentum, right? It's the same thing with, boxers. They always have them kind of like work their way up. A friend of mine always said, when you're kind of going out to a nightclub and you want to like talk to pretty girls or whatever, he always said to climb the ladder of self-esteem first, right? And what that basically means is you start talking to someone who's way in your league, right? Or below your league, and then you work your way up to out of your league. Now, obviously, it's a bit of a fucked up way of thinking, but we can't deny that it's only a little bit true, right? So anyways, the same concept applies with something like boxers, right? Like they essentially start with a fight that is, kind of like under their level, then they go a little bit higher, that's on their level, and then they start really taking on the real challenges because they've gotten already this winner effect, right? And the winner effect is actually a book that you might want to read. It's called The Winner Effect, and that basically explains the concept of you getting these dopamine stacks, right? Getting these wins in that allows your brain to release serotonin, to release dopamine, and that's gonna get you to feel like a fucking winner, right? And once again, the practical way to apply this concept is in whatever you're trying to do. Most people here, they'll just wanna be more productive on their business, or they wanna make more money, whatever, right? So if it's that, then start with some smaller tasks. It can even be clean your fucking room, right? But you start with some smaller tasks and you build it up, knock it out. You have a list in front of you, just stripe it out. Maybe it's like paying your employee. Maybe it's whatever you need to do, but even if it seems small and trivial, just get these things done, and for one day, stay in full action. And at the end of the day, just see how that felt, okay? And just see how much shit you got done. And just, see if that was actually a more workable way of working and having your day. Now, if it's in another area, right, you can do it as well. Like if it's in a social context, you can start talking to the fucking shopping assistant, okay? If you're a bit of a pussy right now. you can work your way up from there. If it's in, something like gym or fighting, whatever, then once again, you can start and stacking wins, right? And building it up there. So this concept can be applied to any endeavor, to anything that you want to create success in. You just got to start small. And you can really, if you take this concept home as well, you can really achieve any of those big goals as long as you bite it, chunk it right the fuck down into those small, digestible pieces that you can actually get started with, right? Because if you are gonna climb something that's very high, right? Now I'm not talking about fucking Mount Everest, but I'm talking about a couple 100 meters or whatever. If they make a ladder that has steps that are small enough, you can get up there, right? But if they don't have a ladder, or the ladder has way, wide steps, you're not gonna be able to get up there, or you're gonna have to work really hard to do so. And it's probably gonna be life friendly. But if you have just a ladder that has small steps, you're gonna be able to get up there pretty much, doesn't matter how high it is, obviously within reason, right? And that's the same thing with your goals and the shit that you wanna achieve in your life. So make sure to break it right the fuck down into bite-sized things that you can actually do and are manageable for you, so you can unleash this winner effect. Don't judge yourself for where you're at right now, but take responsibility, right? And actually meet yourself where you're at right now, right? With those smaller things. Like, once again, the toughest fucking people in the world, like Mike Tyson, when he got out of prison, he fought Peter McNeely, right? Which for him was just not a challenge, but they obviously put him up to that to get him back into the zone, right? Get him back into his winner effect. Because even if you might think like, oh, this is not a huge deal if I get this done, your subconscious mind will still see it as you having achieved something, and it's still gonna release dopamine for you, and it's still gonna fucking work, okay? So obviously if you win a very big challenge, it's gonna give you a way bigger dopamine rush, but we don't wanna take that on and then have you lose that, right? So the worst thing you can do is start with something that's too big that you're just not gonna be able to follow through on, and then have your winning effect go down, right? Because this can go in an upward spiral or in a downward spiral. And if you go in a downward spiral, you're gonna have to circumvent that, and you're gonna have to change your mind, right, to really get back into the upward spiral. But the upward spiral is so damn powerful, and that's how you see, right? I have friends, and I've seen it with myself, obviously too, that all of a sudden, right, they've been kind of like low-key failing for years. And all of a sudden, within a year, they go from like 10, 20K a month to 10 million a month, okay? Or they go from, once again, actually like 20K a month-ish to, once again, a couple million a month, right? I've seen it so much where people just get into the zone, they get into an upward spiral, and it just keeps growing. And the only thing you need to do then is just make sure that you keep your mind correct, that you don't engage in any self-sabotaging activities, right? By actually identifying with being that person. But that's a topic for another video. Just make sure for now that you stay in momentum, you stay in action, because once again, compare it to riding a fucking bike. If you stop, or if you don't go as fast, right? If you don't keep pushing it, you're gonna fall because you lose the balance, right? And that's the exact same concept of life, right? So keep at it, keep pushing it. And the funny thing is, you're not gonna have to push it that much more. The last thing I'll leave you with is that if you just hammer home this concept of like, hey, if I push it really hard, if I stay in action, it's actually gonna be quite easy, and it's actually gonna be quite fun. If you just remember that, right, then it's gonna be so much easier for you to even get to that point, right? Because you know that on the other side, and that may be an hour, maybe a couple days, whatever, on the other side of the momentum bridge, right? When you get to the other side of that bridge, when you're momentum land, when you're in upward spiral land, it's gonna be super fucking easy to just keep it going. It's gonna be pleasurable, and it's gonna be hard for you not to do it. If you've ever had this, right? If you're a gym person and you go to the gym every day, and that's just now a part of your routine, it's a part of your momentum, and you used to have to push yourself to go there, but now it's almost like you have to push yourself not to go to the gym, right? Like you have to go there. And it's actually annoying not to go if you can't for whatever reason someday, right? That's the exact thing that I'm talking about. And then, if you've also experienced this, most people will have probably experienced this at some time in their life. Let's say that for whatever reason, you're on holiday, whatever, you just didn't work out for like a week or two, right? And now you gotta get back into it. Now you actually gotta push yourself to do it again, because you got out of momentum. You stopped the bike, and now you gotta start it back up again. And that costs way more energy than doing it for 2 weeks straight, okay? So remember that shit, apply that shit, and let's actually get you to 2, 10, 20x this year. Because I'm telling you, it's possible, whatever fucking goal you have. I've had downtimes in my life. I've had times where I fucked up. I've had times where I got really successful and lost a lot, okay? But if you just stick to it, stay consistent, and focus on what you want, and keep going towards it, staying in action, not falling off that bike, you're gonna get there, right? So see you in the next one, and hope that helps.